Today's lesson: Creative Effects with CSS Mask Image. Today, we'll unlock the creative potential of the CSS Mask Image property. You'll learn how to understand the concept of masking in CSS, apply masks using image files, conceptually, use gradients, linear and radial, as dynamic masks, leverage inline SVG for precise mask shapes, control mask appearance with related properties. Let's dive into the code and see how masking can transform element appearance. We start with our simplified HTML structure. Inside a main container, we have a heading and an introductory paragraph. The core is a grid container holding 4 example divs. Each example div contains the same landscape image, but with a different CSS class for distinct masks, and a simple div with the class caption describing the effect. Now let's add the CSS within the style tags. First, we apply box sizing of border box. This makes it easier to reason about element dimensions, as padding and borders will be included within the specified width and height, not added to it. We use Flexbox to center the main container horizontally and vertically. Flexbox ensures the body fills at least the viewport height, enabling vertical centering. We also set the inter font, add a light blue gradient background, and remove default margins. For the grid container, we use a 2x2 CSS grid layout with a gap between items. Here we style the images that will be masked. We set a fixed aspect ratio and use object fit cover to ensure they fill their space nicely. Mask size scales the mask image, our gradient or SVG, down to fit entirely within the image element while keeping its proportions. Mask repeat, no repeat, ensures the mask image isn't tiled if it's smaller than the element. Finally, mask position center places this single mask instance precisely in the middle of the image. The container gets a clean white background, padding, rounded corners, and a subtle shadow, making it stand out. We limit its maximum width for better layout control on large screens. We style the main H1 heading, centering it and giving it a dark blue color. The introductory paragraph is centered, styled with a readable gray color, given bottom margin, and constrained in width for better readability. Each mask example div has default margins removed, and its text centered. The captions are styled with margin top, a slightly smaller font size, gray color, and medium font weight. Our first mask example uses a radial gradient. We use black here to define the fully visible areas. By default, masks use luminance, meaning whiter areas are more visible, and blacker areas less so. However, when using gradients or images with transparency, the alpha channel, opacity, often takes precedence. So black represents full opacity, visible, while transparent represents zero opacity, invisible. The semi-transparent RGBA creates the soft edge. While any opaque color could work instead of black, using black and white/transparent is a common convention. Next, we use an inline SVG data URI as a mask, defining a star shape. The SVG's fill black dictates the opaque and therefore visible area, precisely clipping the image to the star shape. This example uses a linear gradient mask for a fade effect, transitioning from opaque black, visible at the top, to transparent, hidden at the bottom. Finally, another radial gradient creates a spotlight effect, starting with opaque black at the center, visible, and fading quickly to transparent. And that concludes our look at CSS Mask Image. You've seen how gradients and SVGs can creatively control element visibility, offering powerful design options.